One second. Okay.
Hey,
Is that make me too bright? Does that wash me out? I can't see.
you're on right now, brother.
Well, we'll edit this out.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's better. Yeah, that was
it's
too
not
much.
terrible. That looks good. That
Yeah,
looks
this is good.
that looks good. Let's see. Okay, so here we are, folks, friends and fiends. It is summertime. I always wonder what you fiends do in the summertime. I've come across a few of you. I've got one on the line right now. You may or may not see him, depending if you went to the Kettle Whistle Radio YouTube page yet to check out the videos. Special guest tonight. We've been preparing for this for a while because you got a catalog. JD Ellenberger is the man. Now, going back some, we're going to go back to when you were Johnny Daggers. To me, to the world, before film, you had a huge catalog and interchanging library of music that you composed, that you played in bands, that you wrote, and I believe vocal as well. You vocalized. JD Ellenberger, welcome back once again, one of my favorite guests. And man, you blew me away. And all of this is because of a treasure trove. You kind of played Indiana Jones in your own attic, I want to say. Am I wrong? What have you
Sure.
brought with you? What have you brought with you today? I have a list. I have a timeline, chronological order. I had homework.
Yes, you did.
So hit me
Yeah,
up,
no,
man.
it's an honor. It's you've been, I don't want to say hounding, but you've been asking me to
Pounding.
go through the archives of my musical history over the past 30 years and give you songs and wanted to do a show. And at the time, I really didn't have much that was easily accessible. But I recently bought an external hard drive, was able to unearth a lot of old data discs, and I just basically just threw a lot at you.
You did. You did. When I met you, you must have been in the literal. I'm not drinking, folks. I'm mumbling. A literal transition between. Well, you're going to film, and you had come from music. I met you somewhere in the middle of all that at Cinema Wasteland. That was our first outing. I didn't meet you there, but that was the first to go order. Um, Man, I didn't realize we go punk, metal, industrial, goth, ambient, and you even threw something at me that I'll get into it a little later. But as far as I can see, the chronological order of this started around 95 ish. I could be wrong, but with Black Mass.
So you're not wrong, but it's not 100% accurate either. If we really delve back to the very beginning of my musical career, it probably started in 86, 87, of all things, with a hip hop band.
Yeah, you told me that.
And we were, at the time, it was this band called Streetside Enterprise, which was actually a band. My best friend and I at the time tried like hell to find a DJ, but when you're from rural bumfuck Western Pennsylvania, number one, it was rare to find somebody else that liked hip hop back at that time.
Oh,
And
fuck.
right,
Is that, wait, I'm sorry. To be more exact, you're talking about Greensburg, Butler, Pittsburgh,
Latrobe at the time,
Latrobe.
Latrobe at that
You
time.
did say that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And we couldn't find a DJ, but we had friends that played guitar and played drums. And my best friend and I were just like, look, we'll both dual rap at the exact same time. We'll get Rick on guitar, we'll put Derek on drums. And this is before anybody else was doing it. This was years before the Beasties started doing, hip hop with like Check Your Head when they came back with the instruments.
Of course.
This even predates, basically anything. I think it predates the collaboration between Run DMC and Aerosmith on Walk This Way. But we did it out of necessity because we loved hip hop and we loved rock, and that's what we did. And then after that, I was in a couple punk bands that didn't really do much of anything because we were all in school, and you know how that is. So yeah, I guess that the first thing of any notoriety. Although I wish that our rap band, I wished I had that material because we actually did do an album. I just That's been long gone unless my old buddy has it. So Yeah, we picked back up at 95 with some industrial work.
Well, I opened up the show with the
Or Black
protagonist.
Mass, I should say. I'm sorry.
But I opened up the show with the protagonist just to get a little ambient thing there, give them a little variety. We're talking about Black Mass right now. The protagonist is the soundtrack. What was that?
Soundtrack killers.
The soundtrack killers. And I love that. If it was ambient, we'll get into that. But so that's what we started out. If folks are wondering what the hell I started out with. Black Mass. Now I'm enthralled. I was enthralled from the very beginning. Now this is kind of, I was surprised at how metal it was. I didn't know you went that far. I mean, I knew about Christian Death, but I didn't realize that you had more guitars in your industrial music, because you've discussed how, I mean, guitars add an angry element, but you say you're not into angry industrial. That's interesting.
Yeah, but with Black Mass, that I would definitely consider that more death rock
That's,
than
yeah,
metal,
agreed.
for sure. But with the punk element, and when I was doing vocals in that band, a lot of people compared my vocals to, oddly enough, I never heard it, but the two comparisons that people would always say to me vocal wise, which was funny because I thought I sounded more like Roz from Christian Death, but everybody said I hear Johnny Rotten and I hear Jello Biafra, and I think
Oh,
it's just
yes.
the vibrato that I used in my vocals with that. But yeah, that was definitely more, full fledged death rock band because we really were trying to. I mean, I was super influenced by Christian Death, got the rest of the band into them, and so not that we wanted to rip them off, but they were a huge influence on our writing styles.
This I know. This I know. Well, we got songs like, okay, The Living Dying, My Father's House, and I think my favorite was Sonnet of Remorse. Is that right?
Sonnet of Remorse, yeah.
Yeah, man. Dude, yeah, there was a lot of good stuff going on there. A lot of fun. I would have been into your band had I known you then. Definitely the scene. I was all over the place in New York at the time. Just really dug it. I'm just trying to figure. So you had a 4-song EP, or was this?
So yeah, we did a 4-song EP. I had a Tascam 4-track recorder that we just set up in my dining room, very rudimentary, and did the best 4-track recording that we possibly could at the time, with grand notions that we would eventually get signed to Frontier Records, which
Oh,
Christian Death, their one and only with the original lineup, was released on Frontier Records. And Frontier Records also did they did the Hell Comes to Your House compilation back in 81, I think, which had like Social Distortion and TSOL and all the West Coast Circle Jerks, all the West Coast punk rock bands. And Lisa Fancher was the woman who owned and operated Frontier Records. So we recorded the 4-track demo, and I sent it off to Lisa. Snail mail, back 1995, package everything up. I think I put the demo in like a little coffin. I made a little coffin, and we had like publicity cards and tried to do it up the best we could, and sent this little promo kit out to California to Lisa, and she listened to the demo and she loved it, and she wanted to sign us, which was my dream. But she said, I can't sign you just based off of this 4-track recording. You guys actually have to get into an actual recording studio, cut an album, give that to me, and then I can sign you guys.
okay.
I was like, great. Well, at the time, I think I was like 23, 24. I was young, but I was working construction and I was making really good money. And my other bandmates they were seniors in high school still, with senior mindsets. So
Yeah,
I
I get it.
said to the guys, look, we have a chance to get signed to Frontier Records. We just have to, and I will pay for us to go into the studio. There was a recording studio in Latrobe, Pennsylvania called Gamut Studios. They only charged $50 an hour, which even back then was a really affordable price for me. But, one guy wanted to hang out with his girlfriend all the time. The other guy was too tired. Just they didn't have the drive. You know how that goes. And we never got around to getting in the studio. So, and then we were supposed to play up in your neck of the woods. We got,
Really?
yeah, we got invited to play at the New York City Curse of the Hearse Festival, which took place, if you might know this club, at the Pyramid Club.
I heard of it. Yeah, I didn't go there, but I had heard of it.
So it's a goth festival that a good friend of mine who is now deceased, but Paul Mortar from this horror punk band called the Brickbats. He was the guy that founded that event back in the 90s. And I think that the year we were invited to play was either the second or third event, like annual event for the Curse of the Hearse Festival.
Mhm.
But again, couldn't get the guys together to practice. Like, it stinks. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but this is 30 plus years later.
Dude, of
I think
course.
in retrospect, they would probably say that if they would have given more to the band, it could
Hey,
have.
man, dude, Jimmy quit. Jody got married. You never knew you'd get that far. Brian Adams said it all, dude.
Yep. So we
Totally
didn't make the
understand.
Curse of the Hearse Festival, and my guitarist amp blew up like a week beforehand, and all this shit. So, but yeah, the Curse of Black Mass '99.
Well, you know what? That's a story in itself. And yeah, I definitely hear Jello Biafra in that big time. I was gonna say that before, like we talked today. I heard it, and I was yeah, all right, this is familiar and great. I enjoyed it. I am a fan in retrospect.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I want a T-shirt now. Damn it. Um, so I wanted to talk about the protagonist a little bit too, just because, oh man, the soundtrack killers. Maybe we'll wait till after we play a song. We got to let them hear Black Mass first. Let them decide for themselves. We'll take a quick break there. And which song would you play? I mean, I said my favorite, but that doesn't mean it should be that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Womb of Discontent was another good one. That was
Yeah.
the first.
Okay.
That was the first one we ever wrote and recorded. That was the
Yes.
very first thing. And there's
Womb
a,
of
there's actually
Discontent.
a funny story about that song when we come back from commercial break. So
Commercial, if you want to call it that, something like that. We do have those. I can't
yeah.
help that, folks. God damn it. But we're going to get right back here. And we got in disguise JD Ellenberger as Johnny Daggers. How the fuck does he do this? Anyway, all right. Enjoy Black Mass like I did. Take reel back in time a little bit. You got to picture the club scene. Your feet are sticking to the floor because they only serve beer, okay, cheap beer in these places. And if you could drink free if you were with a girl, at least in New York, that's how it worked. Girls drank free and they just supplied you the drinks. Um, Electric Banana would be the closest thing in Pittsburgh that I could think
Yeah.
of.
Oh,
I did get to go there, and I imagine that's the sort of place that you guys were haunting. All right, we're gonna get right back, and thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you and everything you do, including listening to us. I'm not sure why you do it, but I love you for it. Thank you. Hello, folks. Recording in progress. That's right. You know why? Because we're recording with Mr. Ellenberger's here, but he is disguised as Johnny Daggers. If you recognize him, we're talking music. All right. This guy's got a lot of music. And you just heard Black Mass. Let me know what you think of that, because that may be on rotation. If I can find a way to get that on my Spotify, we'll see, for Kettle Whistle Radio. Check out Kettle Whistle Radio on Spotify, by the way, folks. And if you're listening to it there, lovely. We have a soundtrack, a song list as well. All the bands we play get put on there. Constant rotation here. Now, in the beginning, before there was a German war machine, there was the soundtrack killers. The soundtrack killers. Now, you heard the protagonist. We talked a little bit about that. I noticed something when Johnny sent me this, that it said live recording. And oh shit, I wrote it down too. Live at the Gem. I don't know who they were, but they were gems at recording live material. That is the clearest sounding audio from back then.
yeah.
Explain, yeah, let's get into this. The soundtrack killers. Get into that. Explain to me protagonists. I mean, was this a band? Was this actually going to be
It was just me. It right after Black Mass broke up, I needed to create music still, but again, had trouble finding dedicated musicians. So I thought, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to do a solo keyboard project, kind of chamber music, kind of something that would sound like a soundtrack to a horror film. And like the very first show, it was me on keyboard, and I had pre-programmed all the drums and everything like that. But then I actually had real drums on stage with me, so I would play keys and real drums at the same time.
I'm so glad you told me that, because I actually pictured you doing that. I had a feeling it was going to be something like that. And again, this is dark, kids. This is dark orchestral music.
Yeah.
Definitely qualifies as soundtrack music, but this is something people would just pay to sit and listen to, I think. And it's also ambient. If you're just laying in bed, you put that in your on your head.
Yeah, I was surprised at how well received it was. So immediately, as soon as I had written a couple songs, I locals were asking me like they were trying to book me for shows. I said, "Oh, okay. I don't know how it's going to go over because they had me playing with industrial bands and punk bands. Then you have a guy come out, and I had candelabras on stage. I mean, it was a whole experience. I mean, candelabras and velour tapestry, and I was done up all uber goth with my velvet coat, and my cravat tie, and all that stuff, and I'm playing orchestral chamber music. And I thought but everybody loved it. So, we did I think probably 3 stints, but it's funny because even though the soundtrack killers were only me, I had actually come across a photo earlier today where at one show I invited 2 friends up on a whim. My buddy Rick, who was a guitar player, and my buddy Derek, who was a keyboardist. And I said, just come on up. And we just did an improv experimental set where we just played
Wow.
feeding
Okay.
off each other's energy. It kind of turned into like a Residence performance. I don't know if you're a fan of the Residence.
I do.
The
You.
big eyes on the
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
band, the Residence. Yeah,
Yes.
it was kind of like really experimental, like circus chamber music at that point. It was pretty neat. But
Uh, it has to be. I was impressed with what I heard there. I'm surprised it didn't go next level, and I hope that when you found this stuff, you thought about putting it out there, using it for some of your new material that you're working on. I don't know if that's even an option for you.
well, that's really crazy that you said that. So,
Yay, crazy's good.
well, it's I told you before the show, just privately, that I've been thinking about doing a new studio project. And I haven't talked it over with the other people yet, but one of the things that I have entertained in my own mind is that because we never had great. So, what you're playing on the show tonight, I want your listeners to understand this, is that with the exception of a future project that you haven't announced yet, which would be Cameo Therapy, everything that David's playing, I consider a demo because they were all done on a home 4 track. A lot of times they were just done in one take because I didn't want to forget anything. So I would
Yeah.
just spew it out, lay it down, record it, and then hope to turn it into more later, but could never find other musicians to come aboard. So it just ended up being, me doing all this stuff. But not to digress too much, but with the future studio project that I'd like to do, I've seriously entertained the notion of taking the Black Mass 99 songs that were
Yeah.
never done professionally and
Right.
reworking them in with the new project, which might be an industrial project, which would add an industrial element to all those Black Mass 99 songs.
How cool would that be? I would love it. I hope you do it. When you hit a song like, oh, is it the Procession? What is the one? Oh, Procession at Midnight. I had to look at it again. It sounds exactly like the visual that you're trying to project there. I mean, that's what you see when you're listening to that. I don't know if it's just your filmmaking skills coming in early into effect where you could portray something with just sound, but you knew what you were looking for visually.
Yeah, that particular song too, when I wrote it, obviously well, not obviously, but when I wrote it, I envisioned Dracula, I envisioned Jonathan Harker carriage coming up to the castle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, that's what I envisioned. And so at that time, I was watching a lot of Hammer horror films too. And
There you go.
so a lot of the Hammer horror films played a big role in a lot of those songs also. So it wasn't just, but yeah,
Visionary. Yeah.
they were all in my mind as I was writing. So
You can tell. You could absolutely tell. Um, and that's funny. You brought up movies, and I did want a little small talk here too, because I usually start in with a little something, something. You don't watch any movies for summertime in particular, do you? Other than Hammer,
I
I've
am
been
the
watching
film
my
director.
Hammers.
What's that?
I've been watching my Hammers too. Don't worry, but I have three. I told you 3 films I watch every summer, and
And
it's
my
got to be.
reply was, I'm the filmmaker that doesn't watch films,
I know that.
which is the honest to God truth.
This I know. This I know,
Yeah.
but you got come on, Jaws, Blood Beach, and the original Piranha. That triumvirate I watch every summer, and I already got them in. So you're a fan of those, at least. Blood
I'm a
Beach.
I'm
Come
a
on,
definitely a fan of Jaws.
not a Blood
It's
Beach.
the
I
first
don't
movie
find many.
that ever terrified me. But yeah, I don't watch things for holidays or certain times of
I
years. I don't watch anything. Like we talk I guess it's because I've always been more of a musician at heart. I'm not trying to shit on my
know.
current trade, you know what I mean?
I'm
But
making an excuse to watch them. That's all.
if I had to choose between sticking a movie on and vegging out, like it feels like such a waste of my time. And
If you're
I
a creative, no, that makes sense to me because you
yeah,
feel like you should be creating something instead.
exactly. And I've always been that way. Even when
Mhm.
I was a little kid and watched sports, like I played football, baseball, basketball, tennis, you name it. And if I was watching baseball on the television, I could make it to like inning two,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, fuck it, where's my glove? I got to go
But
outside and play. Because I don't want to watch somebody else do. I want to do.
you're a doer. No, I
So
kind of get that. I do
it's
get that.
really tough for me to sit down and watch a movie.
All right. Well, now we got that out of the way. I was just wondering how your summer was going so far, but you just draw the drapes and say, nah, it's the same day.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking a German Irish goth how his summer's going.
Well, on that note, my escape, I escaped to the beach. I go out east and I did run into some folks from Salem, of all people.
One of my
Three,
favorite places.
absolutely. Four Salem folks, three female actual Wiccans, and one dude who claims to be a Wiccan. Nice people, but they were on the beach. I got to see witches, what they do on a boardwalk. Yes, they had umbrellas on their, multicolored hair. They
Right?
beautiful girls, by the way. And the dude was just, they're familiar, pretty much dragged around.
Yeah.
And none of them wanted to be in the sun, but we met in the record store, so it just makes
Oh, well,
sense.
there you
Yeah,
go. Yes, that
record
makes sense.
store. But wait, I had to watch to see where they went after that. When I stepped outside with D and I'm on the boardwalk, I'm like, where are those goth kids gonna go next?
Yeah.
They went to the ice cream parlor. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Once a goth, records and ice cream on the boardwalk. I didn't think they'd go to the beach, but moving on. So again, everything I'm talking about here, you guys are going to get smidgens of it. I don't know if you want them to hear more than the protagonist tonight. I could play something right off of that from the soundtrack killers, or go right into the next one. That's up to you. Select tracks. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, I don't even know necessarily what I said. I mean, that's really about the gist with the soundtrack killers. It was something I was doing after Black Mass broke up. You had already played Procession at Midnight, so
Well, I was
I don't
warning you.
know.
No, we didn't
What's
play
that?
it yet. I played the protagonist.
Oh, okay. Which was the soundtrack killer song.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can
Absolutely.
always circle back to the protagonist, or it's your show. You can play it wherever you would like.
So good. I liked all of it. Witch Hunt. Is it Witch Hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, witch. Yes, it is Witch Hunt. Um, just my God, if that doesn't get used for something, that is an amazing piece. I think. Well, let's let him hear that. What do you think?
Yeah,
All
you're
right,
the
let's
boss. You're the
play
boss.
some Witch Hunt, and then we're gonna get back here with Johnny Daggers. Is that confusing?
Haven't heard that for a while. Yeah.
It's meant to be confusing tonight, folks. It's meant to be. Do your homework. Do your homework. Hey, as usual, folks, the best conversations happen off the air, and we discussed summertime. It's funny, we both don't like the sun, the heat, and the summertime. Even though it's the best time of year because we all had off for school, blah blah blah. But yes, I have to agree with Johnny on this one. The night times, especially at the beach, are the best times.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go in the summertime, nighttime is great. Bonfires, all the night activities. I agree. I mean, I'm a certified lifeguard, so I can jump into the water anytime when it's hot, but I prefer to not be hot. Doesn't that's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. So moving on, we got songs, we got music, we got bands. This guy has been busy, and I didn't realize just how busy. Next one actually has a familiar voice included, and your friend and mine, Sean Feldbush. The band German War Machine was just a figment of my imagination because nobody would really prove to me it existed, including my old co-host Sean, who was in it. And I dig it. I really do dig it. You're gonna have to explain German War Machine. What I can tell you, what I loved about it. Well, it's you and Sean Feldbush, but Shell Shocked, Ready to Die. You sent me several things. Germany Calling. Um, it is very German industrial for that point in time in that period. And the period we're talking is 96, 97 ish. Well, how did this
Yeah,
begin? Was it the other music that influenced you, or were you creating it before you even heard it?
you know, I mean,
Combination.
the soundtrack killers were just me, so I never stopped that, but I had an opportunity to collaborate in a way, I suppose, with our mutual friend Sean. Um, he and I went to school together, and then I don't even know how we ended up getting reacquainted a couple years after graduation, and found out that we both liked industrial music. I think maybe we had both been to the Lords of Acid Voodoo U tour
Yeah.
concert.
Ironically, he and I went to see them too.
And so I think we started talking about that. And then I was like, well, let's do something. And at that time, I had been listening to a lot of Libaugh and their Opus Dei album. And I was, for years, had been a huge KMFDM fan. More the first two records, the What Do You Know, Deutschland
Yep.
and the Don't Blow Your Top EP, were like two huge influences on me. And especially the song Germany Calling, I think is like a huge nod to KMFDM's Oh Look, if you
I
remember
totally
that
okay.
song.
I wrote that down. That's what I felt too. And we did not discuss this. So yeah.
Yeah, we
So
did not.
that I agree.
Yeah. And so, I wrote the music, and Sean did vocals on one song and then kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, your Earth into my planet. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
many years later, though.
I know. I know.
Yeah, many years later, which was crazy. But yeah, I
Yes.
don't know what happened to him. He just kind of quit coming around, and I'm not. If he listens to this, there's no ill will or animosity, no animosity whatsoever. But
Yeah.
and I kind of then that's when I did the "Ready to Die" song, which doesn't have any German sound at all. I don't think so at all. It was just something that I wrote and thought sounded good, so I did that. And again, just a demo recording of that. I always planned on that song having a lot more to it, but yeah, German War Machine was a fun little project.
I think he wanted to do it more. We discussed it more than a few times, and I was wondering if he had any recordings. I'm so glad it resurfaced. I'm not sure how glad he's going to be that it resurfaced, but yeah, I'm
I
sure.
think the song is, I think musically, the song, and not trying to pat my own back, but I remember the day that Sean came over and I played him what I wrote. And there's the keyboard solo on that song. He was like, "You didn't fucking write that, really?" Like, he was just so blown away by that keyboard solo, he couldn't believe that I wrote it. And I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, but
Are we
I
talking about
wish.
shell shocked? Are we talking about shell shocked?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was so blown away by the keyboard solo on that that he's like, I can't believe you wrote that." I love the music to that, but if I kind of wish that at that time he was really influenced by Ogre of Skinny Puppy, and I think he was really trying his damnedest to be Nivek Ogre on that song. And
Yes.
I wish that he would have maybe did more of a natural voice that was more suited to him anyway, at least.
Well, it's kind of Dalek if you're into Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was fun to hear his voice again. I saw him not too long ago, by the way. We had a good time at Filter. And I'm sure this will definitely prompt a phone call.
I never thought that I would retrieve that song, to be honest with you. That
Oh,
was one of the ones that
yes.
I thought were.
Johnny, that's a story in itself. You said when I said attic diving, you basically found a CD that you thought was scratched or destroyed, and you were still able to pick up
Oh
the
yeah,
zeros and ones off of it.
it's a terrible, terrible shape. But I got a external CD player that I hooked up to my computer, and I'm like, this is never going to read. It read, and without any skips or anything, flawlessly it read. So that it's a surprise. It's amazing to know that that song was retrievable. So
So these three songs, well, there's two songs. Well, yeah, there's three songs.
mhm.
Are
Ready
they?
to Die,
Yeah,
German Calling, and yeah.
matter of fact, Ready to Die. Ready to Die is very. I found that reminiscent of KMFDM Pig in the early days.
I can see that now. Yeah,
Yeah,
now that you say that.
I did get to see Pig.
Me
And
too. I
yep.
interviewed Cam FDM and Raymond Watts on that tour.
Oh, okay. Oh, did you? Then we must have, were you at Metropole for that one?
Yeah.
Then I was there. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Ready to Die. I heard that. That's what I heard in that one. Germany Calling. Was there gonna be more of this? Or was this where you're gonna there was gonna
I
be
would
more?
have liked to have done more. Yeah, I would have liked to have done a full length, or at
Oh,
least, but just that's the thing. Things. So then Black Mass kind of like we'd get back together for a minute, break up, and so musical projects were just all over the place. I was really just more focused on. I just wanted to play. As
I
somebody that
hear you.
just loves music, you know what I mean?
I do. I
Just
do.
play, and whatever
All
came
right,
my
yeah.
way,
It's
I would
hard.
stop on the dime and do whatever. So
You know where we are, where you used to be, and the commitment factor here is kind of tough. It's
yeah,
hard to get loyal people that will commit to a project and see it through completion. So they usually disappear after, like you said, a couple of shows or whatever, and you lose members or whatever. I don't know. Maybe everybody's just got their own thing going on. I'd like to think that, but I don't know. Yeah, commitment. That I think every musician goes through that. Finding people that will. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what kind of project, how
yeah.
committed do you want to see this till the end? And you could probably sniff it out now at this point. Who's going to stay with you and who's not? I know I
Most
can.
of the time, still, sometimes people are, you know, they're good. I don't know. There's some people in the film world that I thought, okay, I believe them. I've seen this
Mhm.
story 1,000 times. I'm taking them at their word, which I surprise, and then still let down sometimes. So you
But you
just,
never say die. It's something you could return to, like we're doing right now. This could stir something. I don't know. Who knows? But I guess we kind of have to play Shell Shock now, huh? Are we committed to play that, or do you want to play another one?
I mean, you could do Shell Shocked or you could do Germany Calling, which I think is a cool little instrumental, just with the samples and everything. Whatever you want to play. If you want to play, you're the host. So,
I think maybe
but I
we.
do love the music on Shell Shocked.
I know we're gonna do that. We're gonna play Shell Shock for the folks so they can hear a German War Machine, which is just a great name. Uh, that would have been picked up for just T-shirts alone, I think. Yeah, nice little tank on the cover there.
Yeah.
Man, there's just so much you could have done with that. All right, folks. Hey, thanks for listening to this right now. We appreciate you. We're giving you all kinds of samples into the history of filmmaker J.D. Ellenberger, and now he's putting on his Johnny Daggers jacket. So thanks, and we'll be right back. And back again. Again, folks, if you're watching this, you want the full show, you can go right to Spotify or iHeartRadio and listen to the music as well. As you know, YouTube will pull this shit if they hear music or see music or something gets caught. So even the musicians can't even put their own stuff on
I
YouTube
know.
now. They're getting pulled left and right, and it's ridiculous. I'm probably gonna get pulled at one point too. So I don't know. Whoa, Jesus! Hey, I just got pulled. See that? Oh, it could happen just like that, folks. Moving on. That was German War Machine, and I enjoyed it. You got to hear Sean Feldbush doing his little dialect situation there. And I don't know what he's going to think when he hears that. Moving on, though, you have a story for us. And, well, a brush with fame.
Well, I don't know if I'd say a brush with fame per se. I mean, at the same time as this story, I was doing a gothic industrial music magazine that started in '95, and
Oh,
because of
yeah.
that, I got to
Okay.
interview a lot of really great bands that I had admired. And it was during the Soundtrack Killers time. I had only been, and the funny thing is all that Soundtrack Killers material was recorded after I had only been playing keyboard for 2 months.
It's incredible keyboard.
Oh, thank
That
you.
now I see why Sean was blown away by you too. Yeah. If you just did you just wing it?
I always knew that I could play keyboard. I just didn't have one. And then somebody had given me one. And within a course of like 2 months, I wrote the 5 songs for the Soundtrack Killers. And then, Eva O, who did backing vocals on the original Christian Death Only Theater of Pain record, and then subsequently did side projects with Roz Williams, Shadow Project, and prior to that, she was in the punk band the Scream Queens
Ah,
uh,
okay, I do
and the
know that.
Super Heroines. She was in those two bands before that, but she was coming. She wanted to come to PA because I had interviewed her for the magazine. We hit it off really well, and she said, "I'd like to come to PA. I'm thinking about maybe moving out that way. We could do a show." Also, at that time, I was a concert promoter, so I was booking shows. And I said to her, "Well, I can see about booking you." At ended up booking her at this place called Planet Bubba in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And before the show, we were talking. She's like, "I need an opening act," and I had just mentioned like, "Oh, I'm kind of doing this thing, the Soundtrack Killers," and she said, "Well, can you send me your demo or whatever it is that you have?" So I sent her the 4 or 5 track demo. And next thing I know, she's like, "Yeah, you're opening for me."
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, "My God!" Like now, I've been playing keyboard for 2 months. Now, by the time she asked me to open for her, I think maybe it was 3 months into the thing, and she's like, "Yeah, open." And I was such a huge fan of her music, and I was just like, "Wow, I'm opening for one of my idols." So that was a really really cool experience. But the story doesn't end there. Uh, let's see. The club that booked her had no business booking a goth band at all. It was owned. The reason the club was called Planet Bubba is it was owned by Bubba, as you Pittsburgh people know from B94. Yeah, B94 is Bubba.
That was before me, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, you were probably in New York at the time. So, he's doing popular rock channel on the radio, nothing close to goth. And even though I booked the show there, they didn't allow me to do any promotion. They said they would do the promotion. Well, they didn't promote for shit. Maybe
Oh
50
God.
people. Maybe
Right.
50 people.
Even back then, they used to promote.
Yeah, they didn't do any promotion for this. Like
Uh,
maybe 50 people showed up, and then they were supposed to pay her 250 before the show, and then after the show another 250. Well, because they didn't promote, 50 people showed up. They tried to stiff her
yeah.
out of the pay, and she had driven the whole way from California to PA. She drove herself, and her 4-cylinder car was only running on 2 cylinders. Drove the whole way out to PA, stayed with me for 2 weeks. They tried to cheat her out of money. Now, the funny part of this story is after the show, like maybe a week later, at that time, Eva was billing herself as a Gothic Christian musician.
Mhm.
Well, somehow word got out to a local Christian organization called Focus on the Family. And not to sound like Jello Biafra here,
No,
but
no. You did
I
tell
could
me
go
this
off on,
story. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
go off on a Jello rant like he does, but if Bob Wilashewski is ever listening, fuck you. So Bob from Focus on the Family,
Uh,
yeah, he's a real shithead.
I don't
Uh,
know you, but apparently.
yeah, so Bob's this like uber Christian guy that somehow found out about the Eva O show, knew that I opened up for her, and knew that I booked the show. And he had a big problem with that because he didn't think that goths could be Christians. He said it's just impossible. It's unfathomable. There's no way that you could be a Christian and a goth because you're dealing. So here's the funny thing: is he somehow got my phone number, called me up. He had his receptionist call my house.
That's messed
He
up.
said, "Hi, I'm so and so from Focus on the Family. We want to know if you'd come on the radio and do an interview." In
Oh,
about
he's looking. Oh, he wanted early clickbait back
in
then.
about 20 minutes.
Clickbait.
Listen to
Okay.
how fucked up this was. So they said, "In about 20 minutes, could you come on the radio and do an interview with Bob?" I said, "Okay, sure." So I have no idea what the questions are going to be about, what the nature of the
Oh,
show is. He calls me. I get on the air, right? We're live on the air, and he starts pulling out figures. Well, it says here that 35% of the American family households divorced, blah, blah, blah. Had all these stats. It was complete like setup, right? And his whole point of the show was trying to say that there's no way Eva could be a Christian goth, and goths are incapable of having a family. Like goths are the breakdown of the family structure.
okay. So this was a fucking ambush.
It was an ambush, right?
I hate them right
Yeah.
now.
And at the time, the funny thing that he didn't realize is at the time I was married with 3 children.
They
So,
lose more people that way.
oh my God. So yeah, this turned into like an hour long debate which I think I won at the end, but just proving the points that I had proven to him. But yeah, so it's just a funny story that I think that was the first time I had ever been on a radio interview as a guest, and then it was with a Christian organization that I got into a fight with. And
They smell blood in the water with you, but they got a great white shark, and that's the fucking problem right there. They didn't know what they were getting, and I
yeah.
love that you probably annihilated them.
I did. I had it on tape for years, and that's something that disappeared over the years. But if I could ever find that again, I would love to.
Ooh, you might. Look what you found
I
so
mean,
far.
it's very possible, but that's on a cassette tape, and a lot of my
Uh,
cassettes I know are long gone.
so you got into this fight on air.
Yeah, and if my memory serves correct, I'm almost 99.9% positive the guy's name was Bob Wilashewski, and or something close to that. And in fact, about a month or two ago, I was talking to this about this, and I looked it up online, and it took me a while, but I found the Focus on the Family and the Bob guy.
No.
And I almost wanted to email and be like, "Hey, fuckface, do you remember me from you know
Man,
'96?"
I never mix my music and my religion. I just don't understand that. It's a pastime. It's not, I'm not focused on, looking to religion when I'm listening, even to Metallica back in the day. They had nothing to do with religion. It was just,
And even Eva's music didn't. Like if you listen to the songs, you didn't get the. I mean, a couple. Okay, I take that back. There were a couple songs where
oh
she
yeah,
talks
you,
about finding Jesus, but most of Eva's, because Eva and Roz both have gone back and forth from one end of the religious spectrum to the other, from finding God to being a full-fledged Satanist to what have you. But to Eva's point at the time was that she draws her faith from darkness. And so her music can still be dark and
yeah,
gothy with a more positive Christian message. And
no
that
way.
was Eva's whole thing. So,
Right. I mean, that's just like, all right, we can go back to like Slayer and Iron Maiden. I learned a lot of history from those bands. All
right,
right. And your history teacher that taught you about Nazis doesn't mean that he was supporting Nazi Germany.
right.
They're presenting a story to you. You don't
Yes.
bring them onto a radio show and crucify them. I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate that. Bring it on, brother. Anyway. So where do we go from there? Man, that's an interesting story. I know you have another one brewing too. Do we go stabbing westward or meh?
I mean, yeah, sure. We could bring up the stabbing westward thing. If it's a really short story. So again, because of the magazine, I had the opportunity to interview Stabbing Westward right after the Wither Blister Burn Pill record came out. They were
Great
playing
record. Great record.
Metropole, and I had an interview lined up with the band. And the day of the show, I can't remember because sometimes what would happen is that the management would forget to tell the band that they had an interview that day.
I
And
believe that.
for some reason I feel like Stabbing Westward was one of those shows where I show up with my press gear and the band's like caught off guard. So instead of interviewing the entire band, because I think the rest of the band wanted to go record shopping or something, but Chris was super, super sweet, the lead singer, Chris was
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's go. But he's like, I don't want to do the interview here, like at the club. He's like,
Right.
let's just go somewhere and do the interview. So Chris, my then partner, and myself just ran, and you might know this area better than I do,
I know
but
the area from the picture. I knew exactly where you were.
I would love to find that cemetery again. So literally, we just ran like 2 or 3 blocks away from the club, maybe 4 blocks. We just ran until we found somewhere that looked cool. And there
Yeah.
was this giant stone wall that we couldn't see what was on the other side. And
Mm.
Chris is short like me. So both he and I are like pogoing to try to see what's on the other side. And one of us realized that it was a cemetery. We're like, oh, we need to do the interview in here. So we ran into the cemetery and we did the interview there. And the funny thing is Chris and I hit it off so well. We started talking. I was telling him about the bands that I had been in. And he looks me dead in the eye and he's like, son of a bitch. He's like, I wished I would have known that you were a keyboardist. Had I known that prior to sound check, because now we already have all of our gear set up and tested, he's like, I would have set up an extra keyboard on stage and had you perform with us.
Oh man, dude.
And
Oh.
then, and then if that wasn't insult enough, like I was like, God damn it. But then, so normally, because I was a screen printer, I screen printed T-shirts for the magazine and gave them to everybody that I would interview. Like, here, have a Golgotha magazine t-shirt. Well, I didn't have one ready for Chris that day. So not only was it a kick in the balls that I didn't get to perform on stage with them, but then I mentioned to him, like, yeah, and I had a t-shirt that I wanted to silk screen for you, but I didn't get a chance to. And his retort was, that's too bad, because tomorrow night we're going to be on 120 minutes and I would have worn your shirt.
Oh
And I'm
shit.
like, oh man. I'm like, so not only did I miss being on stage with you, but I also could have had the t-shirt for my magazine on 120. But yeah.
Oh, you're killing me right here. I
So
feel that kind of pain. I definitely feel those opportunities. And they happen. They can happen daily sometimes in that situation.
yeah,
I mean, in those situations, if you're a musician, every day those opportunities come up, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, I should have had my card then. I should have had my you know, why didn't I bring my guitar to the club? You know, well, you wouldn't think to do that, and then suddenly they need a guitarist. You know, what the
yeah,
fuck? That happens. I've seen it happen more than a lot. Well, a lot. A lot.
yeah.
Oh my God. Well, all right. Cool story. And I love Stabbing Westward. And we've had some connections here with them, especially with Ayatoya being on, and they mixed a song for her. We're hoping, well, I'm hoping to get them on sometime. Next for you. Okay. We're along the lines at around 1999 at this point.
Mhm.
And you've already had quite a musical history, just these stories. And I know how the 90s were, and it was crazy good. Without social media,
Right.
you had to do everything guerrilla, and it was
Mhm.
fantastic. And you met more people that way. I
Yeah,
don't care
you
what
really
people say.
did.
You could have 38,000 people on your Facebook page. You'll never meet any of them.
Right.
The other shit, you went to a record store, you met and had 12 friends, you know?
That's how we did. We went to Ides. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been to
Yeah.
Ides.
Oh,
To
I
the
still
music
go. I
store.
still go. I still go.
But you go, you hang out at Ides, you see the show flyers, you run into other musicians, and that's
Jim
word of mouth.
Simonic.
Hey,
Jim
yeah,
Simonic. Yep. Yep.
hey, my band's playing a show, I'm dropping off flyers. And then you meet 50 people that are like, yeah, I want to come to the show, or hey, do
Yeah.
you need somebody to join your band? It was
Yep.
a lot of it was done at the Hub of Ides record store.
Yes, it was a hang. If you had a
Yeah,
hang in your neighborhood,
yeah,
more than likely you're going to find out where the next cool show is to go to. And you'll meet musicians. They do signings there. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, brick and mortar, kind of gone now. Oh, well, what can you
yeah,
do? You could try to talk to them on Facebook and you'll probably get there, you know, whoever the promotion person is,
yeah,
and thinking that you're talking to David Draymond. You're not.
right.
Maybe you are sometimes. Um, Cami therapy, is that next 99? So
Absolutely.
99, what the heck goes on here? 99, turn of the century, just before I meet you, kind of what's going on?
So I was still doing Golgotha magazine, and this Italian musician by the name of Miles Faber
Mhm.
had sent me had sent me her record, New Songs for Marching Armies, that she wanted me to review for Golgotha magazine. Well, me being uber ballsy, she sends me the record. It had some merit, but there was a lot of stuff that I thought she could have done to elevate the songs. So I critiqued it fairly, and I told Miles, I like this, but I feel like you could have elaborated more here and done this there. And some of the production wasn't the best. She had produced it herself because she ran her own music label in Italy called Folger Music. And I had the audacity to take her songs that she sent me, run them through my 4-track, and play my own parts over top of them.
Yep, that's what you told me.
And then I sent it to her and I said, this is the way that your song should have sounded. Well, we didn't want to re release the same thing that had already been released, but she agreed with me wholeheartedly. And she's like, let's do a musical project together.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, I'm game. But like, she's in Italy, right?
Right.
I didn't know anything about her other than she was an Italian musician that had her own record label. Didn't know if she was wealthy or not. But the next thing I know, she's flying from Italy to Greensburg, Pennsylvania, like once a month. We're like working on this studio album together. I'm using some of the material that were soundtrack killer songs that I'm like, well, nothing really happened with the soundtrack killers other than playing some shows. And so some of that music went on to the Cameo Therapy project. The next thing you know, we have an entire album cut. She actually had an entire European tour booked for us once
Oh
the
my
record
God.
was released.
Yeah,
But
you told me that.
I was dissatisfied with the production quality. And I had a lot of beautiful, really clean cellos and violins, orchestral instruments that she had a lot of reverb and a lot of delay to that really just muddied the beauty of the sound because we were trying to do like a symphonic industrial
Okay.
combination, right? And I
Orchestral
compared it
level,
best
yeah.
to like a Bjork. It was almost like, in a lot of ways, almost like a really Bjork-esque type album before Bjork really blew up, you know? I
Right.
mean, this was after the Human Behavior album, of course, that
Yeah,
she did
I
in
knew.
like
Yeah,
93, 94. But this was just after that, you know what I mean? And I think it took a while. People didn't really know Bjork from the Sugar Cubes.
no, but I did, and human
I
behavior
did
was
too.
a huge rotation
Yeah,
on TV. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I was a huge Sugar Cubes fan, but for the masses, you know what I mean? Most people in
yeah,
the masses had never heard of Bjork and the Sugar Cubes. Then
right.
Human Behavior came out, and I think it took a while for that record to really gain
It
traction.
it
I'm
did.
really flapping my arms here. Um, but so I kind of compare Therapy to Bjork a bit. It's craziness. But the songs that I sent you were songs that I liked. There was a lot that I omitted that I didn't send you that she really muddied the sound with too much reverb, too much delay. So, but so yeah, so I told her, I said, Miles, I want some of this cleaned up a bit, or else I'm walking. Like I wrote the music, I'm
Yeah.
walking. And she called my bluff. She decided she wanted to keep the music the way it was.
Hmm.
I said, all right, I'm taking my toys. I'm going home. And, had to cancel the tour. The record never got an official release.
Did you have a lot of regret with that, or you would have regretted if you went out with what you didn't want? You didn't want to be, putting out something you didn't believe in.
Yeah, I still to this day stand by my decision.
Okay. No, that's good. No
Yeah.
regrets, I will say this though, it just seeps with creepiness. The sounds. I enjoyed what I heard. It's very it just yeah, it seeping is the best way to explain some of the keyboards there. It's just very creepy. It's inspirational in some ways. Like I'm Not Here, the song.
Mhm. Yeah.
I couldn't stop listening to it. It was like you had to see where it was going to go.
Mhm.
I had to hear it from beginning to end. I was sampling, trying to get a gist of it because I know this was not a project. I don't know how proud you are of it, or how much you want to talk about it.
I'm prouder of it looking back now. Like when
Okay,
I was sending you those songs, I was like, you know what? This was pretty damn good. Like
it is. Yeah.
I hadn't listened to it for 25 years, right? Like I
Mm.
put those songs away, hadn't listened to them till I sent them to you. That
Yeah.
was the first time I had played them back in 25 years. And some of the songs I was sending you, I'm like, these are pretty cool. Like I'm like,
And
maybe I
this
was
was
a bit too harsh back
it
then.
was 99. Now spell it. Is it Kami, Kami? How did you spell this?
Your guess is as good as mine,
That's
brother.
I was wondering about
So Miles came to me with the name, and I didn't like the name,
that.
but she said that it meant, what the hell did she tell me it meant? Oh God, I can't even remember now, but it was some spiritual thing. And I didn't really care for it, but I was like, whatever. I just let me write music, call the thing whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I've tried to look up cameo therapy since then on Google,
Yeah.
typing it KAMITHERAPY and other things. Can't find the damn word anywhere. I don't know where she came up with it from, but, and I think, you know what I think it means? I think it meant karma. I think it was
Okay.
another word for karma. I'm
Seems
almost positive
Latin.
of that.
Yeah. Or
But
she wouldn't have gone cameo as in, you know, cameo appearance.
no, it
You
was
know,
like
it
cameo, and
was
I
definitely
don't know. I just kept thinking chamomile. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't like this
well,
name. But
wouldn't it be interesting if one of my listeners found this person or if she's in another band now? That would be
I've
weird.
tried to find her for years.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
cannot find her at all.
oh wow. So this is getting creepier.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked a lot of what I heard. Especially Lament was really good. But what Gift of Sin? Um, that to me, if you ever wanted, and I needed this for one of my stories that I wrote without having this song as a background while I was writing. But Gift of Sin kind of reminded me what it would sound like for the sirens in hell, what it would sound like if you heard them singing their songs,
Yeah.
luring you through the doorway, which, I wrote about that. And that's what it reminded me of. Like there was some substance there that was very
Yeah.
creepy. Like you could work with.
And the cool thing is she's a trained opera singer. So I
Oh,
mean, that
yeah.
was that was the funny thing. It's like people are like, "What are you working on?" I'm like, "Well, I met this trained Italian opera singer who lives in Italy, and we're doing this 1999. This is like the internet's like
Yeah.
there, but the internet was there, but it wasn't like it is now. We didn't have file sharing capabilities like we have now. We didn't have so
Right.
how in the hell we pulled off making an album oceans apart?
It's
I mean,
amazing.
like I said, she did fly from Italy to Greensburg every so often and would do stuff, but we did a lot of it remotely still too. And to think that we were able to do that in 1999.
I I can't believe you did it that way. Now that you say that you did. Wow. What the hell what programs were you using?
I have no clue.
Probably whatever recorder was on your computer at the time,
Oh, I
you know?
mean, no, I was recording on a Tascam 4-track recorder at my place, but
Okay.
like here's the weird thing is I have no recollection if I snail mailed her material.
Probably. Huh.
Like
Wow.
she snail mailed me the cassette, so I'm thinking I packaged everything up and sent it overseas. I honestly have no recollection of that now because there was no I can't think of any file sharing programs online at the time for me to send the songs digitally. So I would have had to have sent it to her through snail mail.
Well, here's the big question. Do you want them to hear anything from this?
Yeah, you can play one of the cameo therapy songs,
What would
sure.
you which one would you prefer?
You
Yeah.
choose.
God almighty. They're all kind of like have the same creepy tone. I'd say, wow, this is hard. I can't believe you're making me decide this. It'd be between Gift of Sin and Lament. But like a song, you know why I'll play Gift of Sin some other time because Lament, I even wrote this down. A song like this seems to like emulate your transcendence into film work. Like the pieces like I in my head I saw like a visual like birthing of just imagination. Like I don't know if this ever helped you go the other way with music and go into movies instead. Did any of these musicians you work with do that, or you just decided that on your own?
Yeah,
You weren't
I
inspired,
never aspired to get into film.
really?
So I was just a film lover. And, a lot of the songs, which I don't know if there are any that you heard, maybe one of the soundtrack killer songs, but like Skinny Puppy did, I would sample things from horror movies, dialogue and things, and I would incorporate that into certain songs. But that was really about the extent of it. I never
Okay,
put much thought into it so much.
all
I
right,
just
that's
I
cool.
just knew I like to create a lot of atmosphere as much as possible. So
Well, this is what I'll do. I'll go out with we'll go out with one of those as the show ender because I feel like
sure.
Lament might be the way to go with that. Now moving on from that, how do we move on? After 99, we break into 2000.
Call it Icon.
Yeah, and you sent me one tune. Now, was
One
it
of my favorite tracks of all time that I ever did.
which we will play after we talk about it a little bit. Was this hip hop influence? Is this the one that you said had some? No.
No, no, it wasn't hip hop influenced. I don't know necessarily what the influence was to it, to be honest with you. At the time that I listened to it, which obviously it doesn't sound like it, but I mean, I was listening to a lot of Elvis Presley in the early 2000s. The song doesn't sound like Elvis by any means. So I wasn't listening to anything I never intentionally tried to sound like anybody. So, I mean, even though I have hip hop influences, I don't know. Where do you draw the hip hop influence from on that song? The drums, or
Yes. Beat.
is that the pop
Um,
lead itself influence that you were speaking of?
right. Yeah. Pop. Yes. Yeah. Because of course. Yeah. Yeah. Because yeah, we're talking about Pop will eat itself and what burger shakes fries to go. That's DEFCON 1, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's how we got into the conversation. And I thought that I don't know, for you, was it like that's a tough question in the 80s, hip hop going into rock music, or I mean,
They were the same, in my opinion.
yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. If you go back to what was it? What year was it? Was it 85 that Africa Bambaataa and
Oh yeah,
Africa Bambaataa and Johnny Rotten or John Lydon did a song together?
that's right.
They
Shit.
did, I mean, it was great. And don't forget, Malcolm McLaren did a hip hop song back
Isn't
in
that,
the early 80s.
yes, I do remember that. Wow, you're bringing it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. I
So
mean, well, that's all stuff that I grew up on. And what's funny is even though like I'm not from New York like you, somehow in like 1984, I obtained a copy of Run DMC's cassette when it first came out. And it was transformative. Um, my dad was only 18 when I was born, so he was young. My dad loved punk music, which we've probably talked about on the show before. My dad loved punk, and my dad loved post punk new wave bands. So I grew up from my dad listening to stuff like The Clash, The Ramones, Elvis Costello, the
Evo,
New York Dolls, Devo, as you know, all this stuff, right? So when hip hop came along, it wasn't like I turned my back on what I liked from my dad, the punk and the post punk stuff,
yeah,
but hip hop was the first thing that I could claim as my own. Like, this
interesting.
is my generation's music. And so I got really into Run DMC while still listening to punk
Yep.
and new wave. And then, bands, a lot of the early industrial bands that came along, they
Mhm.
fused hip hop with the
Yeah,
industrial music. And then you had
absolutely.
bands like, do you remember Consolidated? Music
I,
was complete. Consolidated was this. I don't know. They might still be around, but the music was pure industrial, but the vocals were straight hip hop rap. So, like, I was listening to Consolidated back then, and like Front 242, all
of
these
course.
bands that have like the hip hop elements to them on certain songs. Nights are Ebb, all this kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
absolutely.
There was a huge mesh between hip hop and industrial music. And even with Skinny Puppy, with using the samples and the things that Skinny Puppy did.
Yep.
So, you know, um,
It's the love of the beat and the bass. You need that to break things up. I love punk rock too. I like
yeah,
nothing better than just three chords and and vocals. That's fantastic. But after at the end of the day, I want to hear a beat too.
yeah, exactly.
I need to mix it up. I need to mix
And
it up.
so my point with Called Icon and the song that you'll play, Everything in You, which has always been one of my favorite songs that I've ever done, and that was all just me, um, keyboard, drum machine, and vocals, everything like that. But what I wanted to do with Called Icon is create something that was catchy without being pop, but still got into your head. And so it was kind of poppy, which I guess the drum beat, that was a poppy style drum beat, that
Yes.
I chose because I wanted it to be catchy, wanted it to be pop, but not pop.
Where? Yeah. So you played this live?
No, never did.
Never got to, but you probably wanted to.
Wanted to real bad. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you?
I had grand aspirations to bring in other band members. And I remember my good friend Jake, who is now deceased, unfortunately, God rest his soul.
Sorry to hear that.
But he was a guitarist, great guitarist, and I had him over, and I wanted to, incorporate him in with Called Icon,
Right.
and but he was in other bands at the time, and he was into a lot of ska punk bands, and that was kind of his love. He wasn't into industrial music, you know what I mean? So it was kind of
I do.
hard to bring him in with trying to get him excited about an industrial project when his love was really ska and bands
Mhm.
like Less Than Jake and Real Big
Sure.
Fish and stuff like that.
They're short lived with me. I enjoy. I can listen to maybe three songs, and I need a change of genre immediately.
Yeah,
Like Sublime. I think they're from a phenomenal band, but they're not for me.
right.
I get tired real quick. I get
Exactly.
bored real quick. I can't even listen. If I listen to Run DMC, no, I can't. I have them up there. I have the Funko Pops. That's how big I am into
Nice.
Run
As much
DMC.
as I love old school
I
hip hop, I can only
yeah.
listen to Run DMC and the Beasties. That's it.
Beasties. But well,
And De La Soul.
Public Enemy, De La Soul's awesome.
And Public Enemy.
I mean, it's the beats, the drums that drives us, man. And you can play with it.
Yeah.
You can take those beats, like, hey, they sample a lot of music in hip hop.
Yeah.
Look at industrial music, what we did, what
Pop
people have
Pop
done.
will eat itself. We're talking. I hear Flava Flav being sampled in the
Yep.
songs. You hear.
Yep.
I've heard Eric B and Rakim sampled in Pop will eat
Yes.
itself.
Yes. Classic.
And so it's like, but yeah, it's for me now to this day. Like, even though I still appreciate old school hip hop,
Yeah.
to put a record on from beginning to end, it can only be Run DMC, the Beasties, Public Enemy, or De La Soul, and that's it.
It's
After that,
funny.
I can listen to a couple tracks here and there, and then I need to,
That's you just named three that are in rotation here all the time, but I listen to a lot more than that. I can't help it. Being in New York, you know what, dude, I listen to disco. I don't give a shit.
I like
Um,
disco. I didn't used to. but as I got older, I learned to appreciate
There's some
it.
more evil elements there that your buddy in the Christian group should have been looking at. I mean, that
Yeah.
was all sex, cocaine, and
Oh
debauchery,
yeah. Big
and
time.
to the
Big pimping.
utmost. I mean, there's some great. Yeah, I'm just saying, there's some creepiness in disco. We've talked about that before. Yeah. So, all right. So let you want to give them a taste. You have more to say about a cult icon.
So no, just setting it up with everything in you. That was just a one-off 4-track recording that I always had plans to add more to. Um, didn't because I couldn't find the right people, but I may be reworking that song. I'll just leave it there. But
I like that.
with my upcoming with my upcoming studio project, which I'm pretty sure we're still going to go under the moniker of Called Icon because I've just always loved that name, and I have
Awesome.
it tattooed on the knuckles.
There you
So,
go. There you
um,
go.
but I think we might either rework that song or just take that recording, which was not a bad sounding recording, and maybe just add some other instruments to the pre-existing just to see what it could have sounded like. So
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right. Well, let's hear Cult Icon right now, and we'll get back with Johnny Daggers right now. Wearing his The Cure shirt. Is that from the new album?
no, this is
Old shirt.
85. I mean, it's a
Okay.
reprint of an 85. I have original 85 shirts, but this is a
As
more
well.
recent
We
reprint.
talked the new album, how much we love that new one. It's
Maybe
fantastic.
try. But yeah,
So
one thing real quick before we go into that. So
yeah,
yeah, the one thing that was exciting about Called Icon is that other than Black Mass and the one German War Machine song that I did vocals on,
yeah.
Called Icon was my return to also singing, which I missed terribly because that, as much as I love playing keyboards, like I was always up until that point, like with Black Mass and bands before that, I was always a lead vocalist. But I took a back seat for cameo therapy and would kind of trade off with German War Machine. So then when I started up with Called Icon, it was fun to be back in front of the microphone as well as the keyboards too. So
I'm glad you said that before we played the song. I was going to ask you after the fact. And okay, cool, because you don't do vocals on everything we've been playing,
yeah, a lot I don't. Yeah.
but a lot of composing going on. I know that. All right. Hey, we'll get right back. Thanks for listening, folks. And now Cult Icon. Okay. Still with us. Glad to see you. Hopefully you see us. If not, you're just listening. Go to Kettle Whistle Radio on YouTube. You could actually see us. We were just discussing Dietrich Valhalla. Character developed, you helped develop because you gave him more life than he should have. I mean, he has his own book, and it is Dead Memories, and that's the last book I just put out. And he is one of the storytellers in it. He has a strong part, and you do find out his fate. Whether that's good or bad, you can decide for yourself. But it's definitely clearly there. Will you see more of him? Yeah, because he's also in the Dr. Peeler comic book, and I have to make mention of this right now. The artist on Dr. Peeler, Robert Hoagland, right now, he is fighting cancer. There's a GoFundMe, and this is actually an opportunity for me to bring that up. I hate to do that, but I want to get it right. Robert Hoagland is the artist behind Dr. Peeler, many things. And if you've been to conventions and met me, you met Robert, and you met Jess. Jess is his daughter, who is also a co-host here, and she works on the show with me as well. Now, for Robert Hoagland, you have to go to it's donate. You go to GoFundMe, donate to support Bob's journey against B-cell lymphoma. If we can do that, that'd be great. They've raised some money, and you know what? Insurance doesn't pay the mortgage, folks. It just doesn't. We have another very important announcement too. Jim Lau, who is an Old Town Crier, that is a folk band that we play here. He'll be on soon enough. His Peterson Motel EP, if you buy it on Bandcamp, it goes to a great cause. So check that out. If you like the cause, buy it on Bandcamp. Jim Lau's a good guy, and Old Town Crier is the band. If you're into your folk rock, he's a great musician. I'm going to have him on. You'll enjoy him too sometime. But we are back here with J.D. Ellenberger, filmmaker, Johnny Daggers, musician, composer, and soundtrack aficionado. I'll give you that one too, because you do your own soundtracks, right? So, what is next for you at this point? We didn't cover everything. We've hit some heavy notes and some great music, but now we got to get into what just happened in 2019. I'm blown away by this one. So Misery Coven.
Yeah, which I love that name. I still want to do a studio project under that moniker also because I love that name, Misery Coven. But yeah, back in 2019, a good friend of mine, Jeff Forloins, who was one of the executive producers on my film Noctambulist,
Yep.
he, with his help on Noctambulist, I had promised him, because he was an aspiring filmmaker, that when time came and he was ready to work on his film, that I would help him. That was the agreement. And it was never supposed to be soundtrack work. It was mostly just trying to teach him how to direct, manage a set, make a movie. But somewhere along the way, I guess he knew I was a musician, liked my compositions, and asked me if I would score a couple tracks for him.
Mm.
So we did. I don't know if I sent you both tracks. I sent you one or two.
I liked what I heard. Let's see. You sent me
Victoria's Curse, and then the other one should be called Jilted.
Victoria's Curse, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Did
I
I
really
send you
enjoyed that.
Jilted?
And Jilted, yes. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Which is a trip hop song.
Jilted, I before I forget to say this, the reason I love that, there's a wall of bass and vibrating synth at the 1 minute and 45-second mark.
Oh
And that's
wow,
how
you
much
got the
that
timestamp.
that's how much it impacted me. Just like you used to do when you were a kid, you swirl your 45 around because you want to hear
Yeah.
that effect again one more time, or your tape, you turn the cassette thing around one more time to cue it
Yeah.
up. Boom, I heard that. I was like, oh, this that wham, that sound just hits you. And it's right at the 1 minute 45. But go ahead. I'm sorry. That's
I'm glad that you got that
yeah.
take from it. I don't think that Jeff was too keen on that. Jeff wasn't a hip hop fan by any means. But anyway, so he had asked me to compose at least a song for the soundtrack. And so I wrote the music for the song, which is the theme song for the movie, Victoria's Curse. And after I wrote it, I was like, it needs some guitar, but I can't play guitar because I understand the theory. I can play bass, but I can't play a 6-string guitar because my fingers just they don't want to work that way. So, so I reached out to some good friends of ours, um, Angel Bartolotta and his wife Sally. And Angel played drums for the Genitortures, played drums for Dope, and a lot of other bands. I believe
Two
Sally,
phenomenal bands, great bands.
yeah, I believe Sally played bass for Dope at one point recently. I don't know. She was in some other bands too, which I don't know. I know in the DC area before she moved to Florida, she was in some bands. But we met like 6 or 7 years ago. I stayed with them. We stayed with them for a couple weeks out in Florida in Ocala or somewhere around close to that. And anyway, we hit it off really well. So when I wrote the song, I actually, instead of using a drum machine, I had Angel redo the drum works with real drums on that track and then add the guitars. And then Sally added these vocals, which were super creepy. Like I
Mm.
love, like just the beginning of it starts off kind of childlike, kind of really creepy, and then she comes in with that guttural, like just like, and it just kicks. Like that song hits so fucking hard.
Really does. Yeah, I'd say fans of like the Birthday Massacre or something like that. But you got this double bass, like metal drum thing happening.
Yeah.
Like you said, those real drums, dude. I was sold. I was
Yeah.
sold.
I mean, it sounded great with the drum machine, but then once Angel added the real drums to it, I was like, oh my God, like this is just that double. Oh, it was just so good and powerful.
Double
And
bass
then,
tightness. Yes.
oh my God, he's phenomenal. Both of them, they're so phenomenal. And then after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do something on the fly. I always wanted. Well, I've dabbled with some trip hop in the past. I think the first folder of files that I sent you, there was something I did because there was a band that we didn't talk about because I didn't send it the second time around. There was a band I did called Adoration, which
Mm.
was back in maybe 2001, right after Called Icon, and it was just me and this other female, and it kind of had a trip hop vibe to it. but it was a short-lived project also. But I thought, yeah, I'm going to do a trip hop song for Lithicum Witch. And I
Mm,
sent the song to Sally and Angel listened to it and was like, because I originally said, like, hey, if you want to drum on this instead of the drum machine that I programmed, like you, he listened to it and he's like, I don't want to do anything on it. He's like, it's great the way that it is. He's
mm.
like, just have Sally sing on it. That's it. He's like, he wouldn't touch it. He's like, it's good. So,
That's somebody that knows their music.
so that was a song that he opted not to mess with because he said, I enjoy it the way that it is. And so Sally did the vocals on that. And so, but it was a fun song. Then I gave it to the producer, and I think he probably thought, what's this hip hop crap? Because he just
Uh,
wasn't a fan of that stuff. But, we got paid for the soundtrack work. And I know he really loves Victoria Curse, the theme song.
mm,
And he might have like jilted a wee little bit, but I don't think so. But that's okay. I liked it. So
right. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of musicians, like yourself, people, directors, musicians, composers like yourself, you know what's good for a situation, even if you don't like it, you know it fits. You may use it or let somebody else use it. It's got to be frustrating when you know it's good for somebody's work and they just like, I don't like that style of music. Like, yeah, but the scene calls for that.
well, there was a scene in the movie, so the movie never got made, and it never
I,
will get made.
I didn't
But
know that.
yeah, that's a whole other thing. But there was a scene in the movie that I
Okay.
had in mind when I did the trip hop song. There was a Halloween party where they were all at this club and they were in costume, and I just thought, like club, you want. I just thought, okay, we'll do some trip hop vibe like on this, because they were all young kids. They were probably like 19, 20, 21. So I just wanted to do something that, and believe me, when you see the kids in the movie, they did not look like kids that would listen to something ultra heavy like Victoria's Curse. They looked like kids that would probably be more into trip hop and stuff like that. Plus, I always loved trip hop music. So,
And it works in a film situation. I mean, it really
like
does.
Ruby, Leslie Rankin, Ruby,
Yeah, of course. She's been on these
she's been
airwaves,
on the
man.
show. I've
Yeah.
interviewed her, but she's got the industrial trip hop vibe
Yes, she
going on,
does.
and she
Absolutely.
did Silverfish, and
Oh, Swallow Baby, the song Swallow.
yeah,
That is trip hop. That's a definition of, you know.
exactly.
Yeah,
Saltpeter,
Leslie Rankin was an amazing guest.
yeah,
Early on, folks. Go back and listen to Ruby. You can find her on Spotify and iHeartRadio on this channel. Just saying, I'm very proud of that one.
yeah.
Oh man.
I was excited.
So so this was 2019. We got how many songs out of it?
Just the two, just the Victoria's Curse and Jilted.
And are you going anywhere with these? Are you going to do more? Are you going to get back together with these folks in any configuration?
So that's kind of the game plan. I don't want to jinx it or curse it,
Ah,
but
okay.
well, here's the thing. So Sally and I have been in correspondence a lot
Yeah.
over doing a studio project together,
Okay.
and she's super thrilled and over the moon about the idea. Angel doesn't really do social media much, but she told me that Angel's on board, would be excited to do it. The problem is that they're in the process of selling their home and relocating to another part of Florida, and
Mm,
it's just been a lot of nightmares. Buyers backing out, like thinking they sold their home, then the buyer backs out, then
right.
they're looking at a home to buy, and it doesn't pass inspection. It's a fire trap. So Sally and Angel had a music um, school in Florida called the Rock Box, and it was this big music school. Even Martin Atkins like gave them shout out and knows them and stuff like that.
Also has been on this show.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they sold the Rock Box and everything that they built because it was severely damaged the last hurricane that Florida had, and they wanted to move somewhere more inland that wouldn't get hit quite as hard with the hurricanes.
It's understandable.
So when you play or did play Everything in You, that is the song that I talked to Sally and Angel about, and
Oh,
I
okay.
want Sally to add some vocals just on one part. On one of the breaks, I want her to add something because that song's actually about a serious. It's not a love song. It sounds like a love song, but it's actually a song about a stalker singing to an unrequited love, And so Sally's going to play the unrequited love interest and do something vocally on that. And Angel might add some guitars to that song.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
and or we might just redo the whole thing all over again and just be like, let's just redo this fucking song. Let's break it down, tear it apart, redo it. But the plan is for the three of us to get back in, do a full length album as a studio project.
I hope that happens. So we're looking at Misery Coven mashing it up with Cult Icon, basically.
Yeah. And who
And
knows? We might even go back to using the Misery Coven name. But the reason that it's not anywhere at the moment is all of their gear is packed away in storage till they find a new house. Like they can't do anything. So as soon as they buy a new home and get everything unpacked and all that, there's a good possibility that the three of us, from what we've talked about already,
yeah,
are going to reform and do a studio project. So,
Johnny, your musical threads are becoming like Stephen King's catalog. As far as I don't even know how you reel it in and put the pieces back together. That's why we're doing the show, folks, because this is actually helping me figure out his timeline. But as you
and
can
we
see,
got, I mean, the
there's a
one
lot.
band too that we're assuming that people know, but we've completely skipped over is the Bordella band
I
of
didn't skip over that.
2013.
There's a
Oh,
reason.
okay.
They've
Okay.
been on this show too.
Yeah.
We had you guys, all three of you in here, guys,
Yeah.
girls. We had you and the two girls, Brittany Bordella. That was phenomenal, fun show. But what's going on? Wait, I don't bring up things that hurt unless you do. I
Nothing
didn't.
hurt me.
You just guys
I
kind of
could show you
went.
my doll. There's nothing that hurt me on this
No.
doll.
Did you go like separate ways? I didn't know what.
No, we're all friends. I mean, I am friends with. So if either one of them are listening, they know that I'm friends with
Yeah.
them. They
Okay.
were they were a couple, like romantically, and they split up, so they don't associate with one another at all anymore.
Okay. No, I
But
knew that.
I'm still friends with both of them because I've not taken sides. I don't even know the story. I don't want to know sides. But that was a fun band to be in.
There was some
That
good music there. Yeah.
that was a touring band. For your listeners that may not know, that was a touring band. I didn't perform on the studio album because what had happened was the studio album was already cut. Brittany, the lead vocalist and head band member songwriter, was going on tour. But 2 weeks before the tour started, she fired her keyboardist for I don't recall the reason why.
I remember this. Yeah.
But I was working at a tattoo shop at the time doing body piercing. And one day I'm about ready to start work and I get a call from Brittany. And she said, Johnny, I just fired my keyboardist. We're getting ready to go on tour in 2 weeks. Will you join the band and play keys? And I thanked her for the offer, laughed, and said no. I mean, that's a daunting task. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks to learn an entire record well enough to go on tour and perform it live.
She trusted you, I guess. She thought you could do it.
So the funny thing is I laughed, thanked her, said no, and that was it.
Right.
About a half hour later, I'm standing there and I'm like, you know what, dude, you're going to fucking hate yourself if you turn this down.
Oh my God.
So 30 minutes later, I call her back and I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. I'm in. And so I had 2 weeks to learn all the songs and then hit the road.
That's a daunting task. Like you said, that's a lot and stress and anxiety. And what if I play the wrong song?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's a lot. That right there. I mean, that I'm sure a lot of musicians have been through that, especially session ones. They don't know the song list, but they can play. I guess do you consider yourself a session musician at this point? Because I mean, if somebody pulls you in, you could probably pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing too is I don't read or write music at all. Everything's ear. So I can just go in, listen a couple of times, be like, all right, I got the feel for it. And I honestly think that players that play by ear can actually, I don't know, I guess everybody has their own way of doing. The Beatles never wrote or read music either. I just, from my experience, musicians that you work with that have an ear, they can just pick it up.
Yes.
Have the ability to adapt better under situations like, hey, hit the road with us.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to read tablature and so forth. That's just my experience. So
it's interesting you said Beatles. I was listening to the Beatles and the Kinks today at work, which is
Yeah, great
Unusual at
kids.
work. I love them, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's unusual that they played them at work today. Very interesting. So there is some all right, so you've got what, man, I don't even know how to reel this in. What is next for you? And do we talk film a little
Yeah,
teaser?
most
Well, what is next like tomorrow? What do you do when you wake up?
well, right now, which is something too we could talk about off air one of these days. But I just completed a graphic novel, which was based off of my most recent film, Lachrymose Primrose. That will be going to the publisher sometime soon.
Right.
It's been a bit aggravating, actually, to be
I'll
honest
bet.
with you. Just the process of getting it to the publisher has
It always is, yes.
been annoying. So it's done. It's just going through the process. And I've been just casually working on a new documentary called Those Who Make Monsters, which you're a part of.
Yeah, man.
And that's a behind the scenes look at the special effects artists that create some of our favorite creatures. And
Yes.
Dave and I interviewed Valerie Safranco, who did
Amazing.
Gizmo and Gremlins and did the Vigo painting and Ghostbusters, and did Jeff Goldblum's worked on Jeff Goldblum's costume in The Fly, and numerous, like, it goes on and on with her. She's got such an impressive
Absolutely.
resume.
The people
And
here, people that listen to here should know because they've heard her
yeah,
twice on here. So yeah.
yeah. And I've interviewed some other people as well. But what happened, even though I've been working on this casually, the LA fires happened. And a
Mm,
lot of the people that were going to be involved in the documentary were in direct path of the fire. Now, the problem is even if they weren't affected themselves, their neighbors and or family members were.
right.
So I would reach out and I'd be like, look, I want to get you in this documentary. And they're like, look, I don't know if my house is going to be here tomorrow. And
Yeah.
then find out that their house was there, but their neighbors burnt to the ground or their parents burnt to the ground or whatever. And so they're like, now we're helping our loved ones rebuild their lives.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, so are you ready for me yet? You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like just taking a step back and giving them time to get
Yeah.
their lives back in order. And then when the time's right, we'll resume doing the interviews again. But it just, that happened. And I didn't want to be that asshole being like, well, put this documentary ahead of what's going on in your
Right.
life with ruining, with losing everything in fires. So there's that. But I'm about 3 days away from completing a new screenplay.
Wow.
Um, so it's based on a real life haunting that happened to me at my first apartment back in 1993. It was a poltergeist haunting that I lived through, which is an insane story. But the first draft of that script will be done in the next week. So,
I look
and then
forward to that one.
what's that?
I look forward to that one and hearing about it.
Yeah, that's going to be really. It's probably going to be my most commercial work. I'm actually looking, and you and I talked off
Yeah.
camera about somebody to maybe pitch it to. So we have to talk more about that. But I also have some other people in mind also as backups, like to pitch the. But I want to go bigger with it because
Sure.
I think that the story has a lot more broader commercial appeal, especially because it's true uh, real life poltergeist haunting.
I can't
So
wait. Yeah, I want to hear more about that. And those who make monsters, what's going on with that now? We're
I'm just taking a
just
step back
waiting.
because of the people that were lost
Yeah,
homes due to the LA fires and
I get
helping
it.
loved ones. So I have
So
a couple of
you're
interviews in the can, but that's just leisurely, and I had all along wanted it to be a leisurely thing because
mhm.
I have so many other irons in the fire. It's like, and now, as soon as Sally and Angel get a new home, like we're going to be working on a studio project musically, which my soul really needs right now, to be honest with you.
Sounds
Like
like it.
I'm really craving, like I miss because I enjoy making films, but film's not my love, and we've talked about this. Like I like it, it's enjoyable, it pays, but like music's where my heart will always be, always, no matter what. Like I'm a musician that happens to make movies.
And we're proving that. We are proving that right here, right now. No joke, man. Just amazing stuff. A lot of catalog, a lot of stuff. You've got a lot of skeletons to work on if you ever want to develop anything more. You have a lot of things you can combine elements of. Uh,
Yeah, oddly enough, not to interrupt, but
right.
like going back to the soundtrack killers work,
Yes.
I would actually like to form an actual orchestra and I
Mm.
would like to compose and conduct an orchestra playing that. It's kind of like what
This,
Danzig did with Black Aria.
yes,
Are you familiar with Black Aria?
absolutely, yes.
I was
This
going to
is
say, I hope that
something
you're familiar with that.
I see this happen. That I can see that happening. Well, yeah, you compose music for film. It just, yeah, it all definitely transcends into well, everything. I
Yeah.
don't know how some of it transcends to the stage because you're going to need some more performers with your ideas.
And
Sounds like you got them too, though. I hope things work out here. With well, Misery Coven #1. But I don't know what you're going to call it. Are you going to call it that or Cult Icon?
yeah, it's back and forth between the two. I think that I'll be diplomatic about it and let it
Yeah.
up, like, make it a democratic decision and leave it up to Sally and Angel. And I
Yeah.
would pretty much just decide, like, hey, or maybe we just come up with something new altogether. It doesn't matter to me.
Not a
I
terrible
just
idea.
just want to play.
Not a terrible. Yeah, I get that. You want to get out there. I know. Yeah, you get hungry and you're just antsy. You got anxiety. Like, why am I just sitting around? I should be making this stuff. I get
Yeah,
that. I get what you said. Watching baseball, I should be playing it right now.
right.
I'm watching a movie. I'm like, I should be in there finishing my next book. This is just not working for me.
So
Um,
I've had this talk with some of my actors. I'm like, look, why are you watching somebody else fulfill their own dream?
yeah,
You should feel like a schmuck. Like, no offense to anybody. Like, I don't mean that disparaging to anybody
yeah,
at all. But like,
no,
to me, I feel like a schmuck watching somebody on TV live out their dream while I could be actually working on my dream myself instead of watching somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
yes, I do.
and I
I
know
do.
people that won't leave the fucking TV. Like, if there's a
Uh,
sporting event on, and no disrespect to the people who are like that, but they're like, even my bandmates back in the day, like, oh, I can't practice today. The Steelers are playing. And it's like, well, what about your goals? What about your dreams and ambitions? Like, you can find out later what happens on the Steelers game, but you're putting what you're doing on the back burner to watch somebody else live their dream. That's always bothered me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. And I've also been that person too, where I didn't move forward. I just stayed and watched other people's progress. This show has helped me, meet the right people and move forward and give me that push. You meet the right people and you start, and like right now, you sent that graphic novel in. I didn't know you were done with it. That's cool. But that gives me the push right now. And you hear the producers are giving me a push right now too. That's Benny and
Yeah,
my producers in the background telling
they're
me,
giving you a push because they need to push.
yeah, you're not kidding. Uh, tell you, but yeah, that's Benny and Jack calling me right now. This has been educationally mind blowing. A lot of music. We covered a lot of ground. But I'd like to see some of these things develop even more. I see like the skeletons of German War Machine, and think I see that there's more for you to do with all of this. You got room to play in your toy box. And is it going to be Misery Coven the first thing? Is that the one you're pulling out of the toy box to work with first musically?
Well, it'll be with Sally and Angel, so
That's so, but you just don't know what it's going to be called yet. But that's going to be
just don't know
first.
the name.
And then you're thinking about the soundtrack killers possibly in the back burner.
Yeah, I'd like to, if I could find, I would like to put together a string quartet at least, you
Mm.
know, and conduct an orchestra for the soundtrack killers. I just think that that'd be great being played by an actual orchestra. So
Well, I said we're going to go out with Lament, and I'll play that after. It'll be our outro finale, but I want to go out with something powerful right now with you. I'll close the show on my own.
are
Um,
you,
well, Misery
did you
Coven.
do the Victorious Curse? Did you do that
That's
stuff?
the one. No, that's the pick. That's the one.
Well, I was going to say, out of anything tonight, that would be the only actually done, finished, polished recording song that you've played tonight. Because, like I said to your
Yeah,
audience and to you earlier, everything that you've played tonight, except for the soundtrack killers, because that was a live soundboard recording.
yeah.
But everything else was just 4-track demos that I just laid down so that I didn't forget, and wanted to bring other people in eventually, and it just never happened. I mean, I think that they're still cool little things on their own, but
Yes.
I did have bigger plans. But yeah, the Victorious Curse theme is definitely the Sally and Angel did amazing job. Sally may have helped with the engineering on it, but I know that Angel really mastered that incredibly well.
Actually I made sure to preface the beginning of the show that these are skeletons, kind of works in progress because all of them were halted for different reasons.
Yeah,
Very interesting how that happened. But in all those pieces of the puzzle, something always comes out of it, in
yeah.
my experience. So
I
depends
like
where
the
you go. Depends where
yeah,
you go. Depends where you go. I'm really curious. You gotta let me know how it goes with these folks, and if well, hopefully they sell
definitely.
their house.
Yeah.
Good luck to them.
I'm
Well,
sure that they can't stand having all their music gear in storage right now. It's probably killing them.
it has to be. Look what it does to you.
Yeah.
Give out your socials, my friend. Give out wherever you want people to hit you up or find anything.
I believe Instagram would be JD_Ellenberger, just JD Ellenberger. Same thing with Facebook. Look up JD Ellenberger. I hate the social stuff, so
Me
I
too, but
don't have exact URLs on the fly to throw at you. But yeah, on Facebook, professional page JD Ellenberger, and same with Instagram. That's about it. I don't use any other socials.
that's cool. That's all right. We're at Fairly Dark Productions Kids. That's all the episodes. And you go there, go to Celebration of Spirits for artwork, and of course, iHeartRadio, Spotify for all the episodes. We appreciate you, of course, and JD Ellenberger. Check out his films, and Johnny Daggers. Check out his music. You're gonna hear, like I said, you heard a sample tonight. So if there's more you want to hear, let us know. Maybe he'll follow through. Maybe he'll
Uh,
finish something for you.
Hey, you know what? The thing is it's not me. I'm all about it. It's just a
Uh,
matter of trying to find the right people that are dedicated to come
oh,
aboard and complete a project with me. So
I
if
know.
somebody out there's listening, I don't even care. Listen, if you're listening to the show and you're like, I'll do a studio project. Like he made a damn record with a woman in Italy in 1999.
Right.
Surely now in 2025, if somebody's listening and they want to do a studio project, now we have the technology to send files back and forth.
No joke.
If you're
No joke.
serious about it, let's do a studio project.
Telling you,
Forget it.
hey,
So,
young guitarists out there, male, female, whatever. If you want to say, hey, guitar might sound good in this one song, hit him up. He might actually like that idea for a little crunch somewhere. Who knows? If
oh,
there's
believe me, there was always plans for crunch. I could just never find people to add the crunch. But I'm looking for anybody that wants to do a studio project
you
together.
may
And
get something. You may get
yeah,
something out of this, dude. You may get something. You may get
I, I,
you could
at
get
this
an
point,
accordion solo, maybe.
an accordion's. Hey, I like Weird Al. I like
Just
polka music.
you could get that. Yeah.
That's
Oh
the, that's
God.
the thing too. When you love music, I will play any genre of music for them. I mean, there are genres I've always wanted to do rockabilly. I've never got a chance to do that. I
Hmm.
completely cool with doing. Let's see, there was another genre somewhere. Irish punk band.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Never got to
Rockabilly.
do like a. Yeah,
I,
there's a lot
I,
of stuff I'd like to do. But anyway,
I,
I digress. If anybody's listening, and you're musically inclined, I just would be happy just to do vocals on something and let other people. That's the thing with Bordella's band and some of the other stuff. They're like, just come in and do the music. That was a nice break because I
yes.
didn't. I could just. I don't even have to worry about singing, which I love, and that's what I really enjoy, singing keyboards. But I miss vocals a lot. I miss doing vocals. So
Well, well, let me tell you, it's wide open. I see something coming to fruition at some point here. Thank you for coming on, sir, and thanks for all the great
thank
music
you for
and the
having me.
great stories. And I think we're going to leave people more confused than ever, and I like
Oh,
that
I'm
because
sure.
then they'll come back for more confusion. Yeah, there's so much to look forward to, and all in development right here.
You
Thank you.
finally got your wish to have the music on the show.
Wow, yeah, this is like 15 years in the making. Well, no, 11 years in the making for this particular episode.
Yeah.
But hey, all right. I'm gonna say goodnight, and I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you soon. And Johnny, we'll see you sooner.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Good night.